Pippin. Pippin was originally bought from a breeder because he is considered a Brussels Griffon pug mix, which is a designer dog. The family that had bought him used to let their children beat him with sticks, and one day he finally snapped. The parents did tell this to the shelter when they dropped him off. Pippin was in the shelter for so long that he made the short list, which is also considered the euthanization list. And Pippin was adopted before he could get euthanized, and he is now 11 years old and has been living in a family that has loved him, and he's had a very happy life. Buying from a breeder may give you a dog that is from a certain breed, but adopting from a shelter can give you so much more. The cost of a breeder is usually around $1,000, and that is not including if you have to ship the dog to you. That could range around $450 to $700, depending on where the dog is getting shipped from. If you're buying from a Humane Society or SPCA, the dogs are usually about $85 to $100 for a puppy. For the Sacramento SPCA, it is $85 for a dog, $100 for a puppy, and you're not just getting the dog, you are also getting it spayed and neutered, the Bordetella and the DHPP vaccinations, flea preventative, deworming preventative, heartworm test, which is for 6 months of age and older, rabies vaccination for 4 months of age and older, microchip, which is a year license for the city residents, a free health checkup after you buy the dog, and it also comes with a dog collar, ID tags, and leash. Dogs from a breeder usually only have a first vaccination and a first veterinarian exam, but they're not usually covered for fleas or ticks or anything. The dogs that usually come from a SPCA or Humane Society also usually have a personality with them. So here's one example from the SPCA. This is Remedy, and it gives you a little about me on her. So she's usually better with a home that is no other dogs, and that's typically with adults. Whereas if you buy from a breeder, your dog or your puppy, usually you won't get a personality because it's a puppy and you're not going to know very much. And if you don't live near the breeder, you won't be able to see the dog until it shows up. And you won't be able to meet its parents to kind of get a feel for what type of temperament it might have. Now, with breeders, you also get the issue of overbreeding. Take these two Old English Shepherds. They came from the same breeder, and both of them died from cancer because the mother had been overbred. With shelter dogs, you don't know exactly their history, but it's going to be a dog that is going to love you, and it's going to be there for you, and it's just going to be happy that it's not in a shelter anymore. There are about 6 million to 8 million animals in a shelter today, and about 2.7 million are euthanized a year. In shelters, most of the dogs are already potty trained, walk pretty well on a leash. Some of them still need some work with it, and have some basic training. Whereas with a breeder, you're getting a puppy, so you're still going to have to deal with all of that training, plus everything else that you're going to have to do because it's a puppy. Getting from a shelter is necessarily the better quality because you're opening up one of those stalls for another dog who could then get a home, as well as getting a dog that's already somewhat trained. It's already got most of its shots and it's spayed and neutered. It's going to cost you less money in the long run because you're not going to have to worry about a whole bunch of training and the vet bills of a new puppy and the spaying and neutering. You're also going to already kind of get a feel for what your dog's personality is going to be because you have seen it in the shelter. So looking at everything between getting a dog from a shelter and a breeder, getting a dog from a shelter is not just getting a new dog, but it's also saving a life.